Hi, this is tennis coach Robert from CarlboTennis.com on a windy day here in Florida. Today we're going to talk about the grip, and it's going to be a little different, and how the grip changes depending on your contact point. So I'm going to go ahead, and many times I have seen players who are committed to a grip, they're stuck on a grip, and we as tennis teachers, we go ahead and talk about grips, which is important. It's a tool to help us create our goal of hitting the ball into certain areas, but sometimes we get overly obsessed with the grip. So I'm going to talk about the grips in a little different way today. So I'm going to start off here with the Eastern forehand grip. Okay, so I have this handshake grip right here. So the Eastern forehand grip, and I'm going to go ahead and start off by talking about the forehand side first. So I have this grip here, and if my hand goes up here, you will notice that my wrist is starting to get compromised. As I go up, my wrist gets compromised, and if I go ahead to make this comfortable, I need to change my hand ever so slightly. So I'm going to keep my racket in the same position the entire time. It's going up and down depending on the shot. So my racket is here, and as I go up, my hand changes. So if you hold the racket loose in your hand like this, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So here's the racket here, it comes up and it changes. So here, uncomfortable, and go around and feel this yourself. I get here, I'm in a comfortable position. Many times in the heat of battle, we're hitting tennis balls and we're not aware of it, but I see many players who are in very weak positions hitting shots. The result is you don't hit as an effective shot as you would like to, and also we have higher risk of tennis related arm issues and wrist issues and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a forehand here. Eastern forehand grip. So this is a forehand drive. I get here slightly in front of me. The racket is parallel here with the baseline. So we have it right here. And this is a good strong position for me. I have an Eastern forehand grip here. Let's say I want to hit the ball a little bit higher up here. So here, my wrist is getting compromised. So I go ahead and switch it over a little bit more. So my wrist just changed ever so slightly. So now I'm in the semi-Western grip. It goes up even higher, and now I'm in the full Western grip. Today, many of the players use the semi-Western grip because we're hitting more topspin, and so the balls are being struck a little bit higher. So this is a more comfortable position for the semi-Western grip. So we want to make sure that we have the grip in a situation that is going to be comfortable for our wrist, so our wrist isn't compromised. The problem is that if we have the semi-Western grip and there's a low ball down here, okay, or a ball that's further back, we need to make sure we make the appropriate change. So if the ball is down here, we go ahead, most players will go ahead and just keep grip and flick the racket. Okay, so we keep the grip and flick the racket, and now we're in a weak position. So we want to make sure that as the racket goes down, I change the position of my hand. The racket stays in the same plane so that I can have the appropriate grip. So on the low balls down here, if I'm hitting a low ball, it might be effective for me to use the continental grip to lift the ball up. Okay, so the ball is here. It's very hard for me to use a very effective continental grip up here. So on the low balls, we want to use more continental to lift the ball up. As I get a little higher, I go more with an Eastern forehand grip, and I go higher yet, I go with the semi-Western / full Western. So as I'm hitting a tennis ball and the ball comes to me, if the ball is right in this area here, I'm going to go with an Eastern forehand grip. If the ball is a little bit higher, I'm going to change my grip and go with a semi-Western, and if the ball is even higher, I'm going to go with a full Western. So I'm going to show you here again how my hand changes according to where the racket is. So up here, this changes. Going forward, the more forward it goes, the more the grip's going to change. So the more out in front here towards the net I hit the ball, the more my grip's going to change. So if I'm here with a continental, very uncomfortable for me to hit the ball here. My wrist is very compromised. I need to change it. If I'm in a full Western grip, it's here. Down here, this is going to be very uncomfortable, my wrist. So we need to make sure that depending on the shot that we decide that we want to hit, we make the appropriate grip change. In order for this to happen, we need to have a very loose grip. So I can quickly change from side to side. So I'm standing here in the ready position. My hand is very loose. I take the racket back. My grip changes. I tighten it a little bit more, and I swing and hit the ball. So depending on what grip I want to use. My hand is always very loose, so I can quickly change it from grip to grip. This is the forehand side. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the backhand. So we're going to go this way. So if I have the Eastern forehand grip, and this is a very common thing that happens, we go ahead and hit the ball this way, okay? We're trying to keep the racket flat here so that we can hit a drive. And if you notice, my wrist is compromised. But if I go this way, my hand is comfortable, my wrist is, but my racket face here is too open. We talked a little bit about racket awareness. So this one, if I drive this one, it's going to go out. So if I'm driving it, we know that we need to keep the racket face closed, and most players, or a lot of players, sorry, will go ahead and just flick the wrist this way instead of changing it and making sure you have a strong position. So I have players that use Eastern forehand grip, they hit the forehand grip, and then on backhand they try to do the same thing, and the grip doesn't change. We make sure that we are in a strong position. And if I hit the ball out in front more towards the net this way, the grip's going to change as well as it goes up higher. So I'm just going to do a little U shape here. So we have this grip here, almost a Western backhand grip. The grip changes, racket changes depending on where I am. So it goes all the way up, and I'm going to change it. And we want to go ahead and make sure that we are hitting the ball in the best possible position. Of course, if I want to hit more topspin, I can brush up on the ball a little bit more. So I get here, brush up a little bit more, creating that topspin. My grip's going to change. If I want to hit a drive, so this is creating topspin. If I want to hit a flat ball, it's very hard for me to hit it here. I might want to change the grip to make it go in a stronger position. The same thing happens on the volley. So just briefly, I see this quite a lot. Many players will use the Eastern forehand grip to hit the ball here, and it has to do with your contact point. So my contact point is towards the net, out in front here, and I'm not able to use the continental grip. So we all know we need to use the continental grip. I turn my body sideways, the racket is in front of me, and I'm able to keep a hammer type grip like this, the continental, and I can hit the ball here using the continental, and once I have contact, I follow through a little bit more. But if I have contact here, my wrist is in a weak position, I'm generally going to change my grip to this position, and the ball is going to go into the net because I don't have enough lift on the ball on a volley because I have to clear the net. The net is so close. And you can see some other videos on the volleys. So we need to make sure, and I see this a lot, that we end up volleying way out in front using a Eastern forehand grip. And on the backhand, we try to volley like this, or we end up in a position where the ball goes up. So you have to change that grip. So for the volleys, we use the continental grip. We're hitting the ball in front, here and here. Forehand, the grip changes depending on what I want to do. Also slice, we're going to use the continental grip depending on the racket face to create the spin. I hope this video has been helpful and useful. Remember not to hold the racket too tightly so that you can go ahead and quickly change the grip depending on the kind of shot you want to hit and depending upon your situation. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. It helps us out quite a bit. So thank you very much. And if you enjoy, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you.
For more information on Carlbo Tennis, visit www.carlbotennis.com. If you wish to email Coach Robert, please do so at robert@carlbotennis.com or visit his Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Carlbo Tennis. Tennis for the people.